You have a great business idea, or maybe you're already operating your business, and now your mind is going to the legal side of things. And that's what we're going to talk about in this presentation. How to automate legal work and incorporating and let you go back to building your business. My name's Derek Hopfner. I'm the co-founder of Founded, a legal platform that makes it really easy to start, build, and grow your business. But I'm also a former business lawyer and entrepreneur, and this makes me uniquely positioned to talk to business owners about how to automate legal tasks and get back to building their business. So we're going to focus this presentation on two main themes: incorporating and legal automation. Going through things like business structures, when the right time to incorporate is, and the incorporation process. All the while thinking about how legal automation can save you time and money. In Canada, there are three main business structures to operate your business under: a sole proprietorship, a partnership, or a corporation. Sole proprietorships are simple. You don't have to do anything at all to operate your business under a sole proprietorship. Now, you might want to register a business name if you want to use something unique other than your personal name. But other than that, there's no money to start a sole proprietorship. Also, if you make money, you're just putting it on your personal income taxes. There's no separate tax forms that you need to do. All profits and losses are going to go to you directly. Now the downsides, there's no legal difference between you and your business. What does this mean for you? Well, if your business gets into trouble and you're sued or you have a business debt that you can't pay off, that means your personal property is at issue, like your house, your car, and your computer. Connected with that, business owners have unlimited liability. And finally, the business is tied directly to you, which means if you stop running the business, that means your sole proprietorship will stop running as well. Partnerships. Like sole proprietorships, they're really simple to start. You have a friend, you're operating a business, you're a partnership. Now there's no money to start, but like a sole proprietorship, you're going to want to register a business name that's unique for you with your government registry. There's no separate taxes to file, so you're just going to be putting everything on your personal income taxes. But when you're starting out as a partnership, you can combine financial resources with your partner to make that startup position that much easier. Again, all profits and losses are going to you directly. Now, what are the downsides of partnership? Again, business owners share unlimited liability. So that means your personal property is at risk. The other thing you want to think about, as your partnership grows, you want to look to getting a top-notch partnership agreement, likely done through a lawyer, so that you can cover things like who owns what, dealing with conflict resolution, and also how revenue is going to be distributed. Corporations, the creme de la creme of business structures. Here we have a separate legal entity when we make an application for a corporation. This means that when you incorporate a company, you're creating essentially a new person at law. Now that new person doesn't get to vote, but you do get a lot of other things like the ability to borrow money and the ability to enter into contracts. And because you've created this separate legal entity, ownership is now transferable, and you have continuous existence because the business itself isn't tied to you directly. Also, if you're going to raise money from investors, or maybe you want to borrow money from a bank, you're going to need to incorporate your company. There's tax advantages that we're going to get into momentarily, and finally, corporations are viewed as more professional. So if you want to enter into a contract with that big client, they're going to expect that you're incorporating. Now, what are the downsides of incorporating? The first and obvious one is it costs money. Now, thankfully, due to technology, we're able to bring down the cost of incorporating by up to a third, which makes it really easy to make the decision to go from sole proprietorship or partnership into incorporation. The other downside is that you can't use your personal income taxes anymore. New corporation means new, separate legal entity, which means separate taxes that must be filed. So you're going to want to look at hiring an accountant or bookkeeper to get the taxes done properly as your business grows. Lastly, there's some minimal ongoing paperwork that you're going to need to think about to make sure your company stays compliant year after year. So when is the right time to incorporate your business? You're going to want to look at two different things. The first is liability, and the second is taxes. So liability. You want to think of where your business sits on the liability spectrum. Are you maybe a marketing consultant where you run social media accounts for a number of different companies? Well, in that scenario, you can imagine that your business risks are much lower. And that means you might not want to incorporate right away. On the other side of things, let's say you run a home renovation business, maybe moving services, construction, or consumer goods. In each of those instances, the business risks are much higher, and that means that you're going to want to incorporate your business likely before you ever start to operate. Taxes. There are three main benefits when incorporating from a tax perspective. The first one, you'll recall with sole proprietorships and partnerships, you only have to deal with the personal tax rate, but that means you have no options. When you incorporate, you get to benefit from a lower corporate tax rate. And this means the more money you keep in the company and don't draw out in terms of personal salaries or dividends, is the more money you get to reinvest in your business, putting it towards inventory, marketing, or maybe hiring that new employee. And finally, capital gains exemption. And this only happens if you've incorporated your company and sell shares to a buyer at the exit of your company. Capital gains can be huge, saving business owners up to $800,000 in completely free tax exemption. Now, what do you want to think about when you're incorporating your business? The first thing, and what everyone might think is the most important, is getting a unique business name that properly represents your brand and tells the world exactly what you're going to be doing. You want something that's unique, and you also want something that complies with business name laws. After that, you can look at the share structure. You can have really complex share structures or something fairly simple with maybe just a voting share class and a non-voting share class. After that, who are the owners of your company? If it's just you, then you get to appoint a director, which is the mind of the company. You'll often hear in the media, the board of directors is approving this or doing that. Well, every company in Canada has a board of directors, even if it's just one person. And finally, the directors are going to be appointing the officers, like the president, the vice president, the CEO. Now, if you are a one-person company, don't worry, you're in the majority in Canada. And that means there's just you as the shareholder, it's just you as the director, and it's just you in the officer positions, and there's nothing at all wrong with that. The incorporation process in Canada has two main steps. The first one is familiar with most business owners, the government step. You need to file documents with the government, and in return, you're going to get the certificate of incorporation and filed articles. But don't stop there, because the next step is legally required and crucial to prove that you have owners of your company. It's called the corporate organization documents, and if you work with a law firm or you work with a legal platform like Founded, we're going to get both of these things done for you at the same time. The benefits of legal automation are obvious with respect to the first 2 points. You get to reduce the time to complete legal tasks by up to 95% and reduce legal costs by 80%. And this means you get to go back to building your business. But the other benefit is that you get to ensure that the business structure for your business is set up correctly. And also, ongoing legal work is kind of done automatically for you. At Founded, we're able to automate legal tasks by understanding the legal logic and what needs to be filed in each instance, so that companies can stay compliant and kind of go back to building their business. A legal task needs to be understood in the context of what the business owner wants to achieve. So, for example, with incorporating, a legal task could be filing documents with the government, preparing corporate organizational documents, getting individuals to sign off on documents so they're legally compliant. Now, how do you choose the right legal automation for your business and build it into your business's legal processes? Well, the first thing you want to do is take a look at the right legal automation platform for you. You want one that can scale with your business, that doesn't just do the incorporation part, but also does a lot of different tasks as your business grows. You're not stopping at incorporation, that's just where you're starting. Also, a legal automation platform can act as the home base for your business. So if you have contracts like a lease or things like that, you can put everything in one place where you know to find is super easy. And finally, you can use the legal platform to collaborate with other team members lawyers, or even accountants. And again, everything is saved and stored in the cloud in one place and allows you to going back to building your business and focusing on more important things. If you'd like to learn more about incorporating or legal platforms, visit us at founded.co, the legal platform to start, build, and grow your business. The modern workplace has transformed the way we start businesses. You might be a business owner and now you get to decide anyone in the world can be your business partner. Geography is no longer a concern. With tools that allow us to work with anyone through video, by saving documents on the cloud, we're able to move businesses faster, start them quicker, and for less money than ever before.